Well, as I said, 18 months or so ago, we started a game change campaign to fund things that were important to the heart of God, and we gave things and committed things above and beyond what we regularly give. And we made that name Game Change Campaign because we were struck by an article by Malcolm Gladwell in the New Yorker magazine. The game change is when you see something others hadn't seen, you do something that no one's willing to do, and fundamentally things shift. 6 marks we're looking at game changers. Number 1 we're looking at is game changers are dissatisfied with the status quo. One of my favorite game changers in the Bible is the prophet Nehemiah. Nehemiah actually is the cupbearer for the king of Babylon, and the king is starting to release the captives out of exile to go back and inhabit the holy city of Jerusalem. And as Nehemiah's friends are going to Jerusalem, they're sending him back letters that say, hey, all the great wall that goes around the city, it's actually broken down. It's broken down. And Nehemiah hears this, and he is not satisfied. He is rocked to his core. Here's what it says in Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 4 and following. As soon as I heard these words, I sat down and wept and mourned for days, and I continued fasting and praying before the God of heaven. One thing that happens is when you are dissatisfied with the status quo, you are emotionally wrecked. Whenever somebody changes anything, it starts with you being wrecked. With you emotionally and whatever your bandwidth is going, oh, can't have this. Now, Nehemiah is completely undone, and the king notices what's happening with him, why he's acting this way, and look what happens. The king said to me, why is your face sad, seeing you're not sick? And Nehemiah says, why should not my face be sad when the city, the place of my father's graves, lies in ruins? Let letters be given me to the governors of the province beyond the river, that they may let me pass through, and a letter to Asaph, the keeper of the king's forest, that he may give me timber to make beams for the gates of the fortress of the temple, and for the wall of the city, and for the house that I shall occupy. He goes directly from being dissatisfied with being wrecked with realizing he's got a job to do. He's got a job to do. And in order to rebuild this city, to rebuild these walls, it's going to take resources. When you are a game changer, you realize there is always a need for resources. You go from being emotionally wrecked to gathering resources. Nehemiah says that. Hey, give me a letter so I can take it to where your forests are and I can get timber. He gathers resources. Let me tell you something. Anything that you will ever want to change will always take money. Perhaps God changing you does not take money because it's a free gift. And then what he does in you beyond that, it will always cost. I hear people once in a while go, gosh, why is Crossroads always like having people give money? Why is it this? Why? Because we are changing the city. We believe that the city of Cincinnati will be substantively and significantly different in our lifetime. I believe girls, people in South Africa are going to have different lives. Resources are these weapons that are doing that. And what I love about it is we're in a church and we're with people to your right and left who don't just think about things, but we do things. Nehemiah does this. He is wrecked. He goes out and gathers resources, and then he gets a bunch of people around him, and they go and get things done. And so Nehemiah is getting all these different Jews to come together to rebuild the walls of their city. Let's take a look at what it says in Nehemiah 4. So we built the wall, and the wall was joined together to half its height, for the people had a mind to work. They're working, they're building it up. Why? Because they have a mind to work. It's one of the things I love about you, one of the things I love about being part of this church. We've got a mind to work. You know, we don't just pray about things, we don't just debate things, we don't think about things, we work about things. So Nehemiah is building this stuff, and detractors start coming around. They're saying, you can't change this. What are you doing? That's not going to last. That's not going to continue. Here's what it says in chapter 6. His detractors come, and they say, come, let us meet together. I find that one of the common ways that people try to distract the people of God is getting them in meetings. Nehemiah says, I'm doing a great work, and I cannot come down. Why should the work stop while I leave it and come down to you? No matter what you are changing, if you're changing your marriage, if you're changing your education, if you're changing your business, no matter what there will always be people who try to get you off the wall. People try to get you off making progress, try to get you down off of the great work that God is asking you to do. Don't do it. Don't do it. Stay on the wall. Nehemiah said, I'm not getting off the wall. Not getting off the wall till it's done because I was wrecked. I'm working it, and I don't expect it to be easy. I believe God is doing this in increasing ways in His people. I want to give you the permission to be bothered. You should have permission to be wrecked over the next 6 weeks. You should be wrecked. We should be wrecked. When God is moving in us, He has us feel the same things He feels. And whatever your emotional bandwidth is, I want to encourage you to allow God to have you see what everyone else sees, except you want to see it different. You want to be a game changer. Father, I pray this happens.